Well, good morning. I tell you, I'm hoping for a better day today than it was yesterday. If you watched yesterday's video, you'll know we had to sadly put one of our ewes down. That was pretty tragic, actually. It's not the worst day we've had on the farm, but it's definitely the worst day we've had since the garbage truck ran over our dog here late last year. But today I'm going to run over with the side-by-side and go check on all the ewes, check on the pigs, give them some feed. And yeah, it's a new day, so we will do what we can to make the best of it. Good morning, piggies. Better get after your breakfast there. It's actually a good reminder. I better phone the butcher today and see about booking these fatties a date. So, one over here choking because he eats his breakfast too fast. Good morning, girls. Everybody's okay? Yeah, that's good. Well, good evening. I just got off work, picked up Charlotte. It's a beautiful evening right now. It's absolutely gorgeous. I think it's going to be a good evening to work in the chicken house, the little chicken house, because on Saturday, and you're invited, we're going to have a chicken rodeo. What's chicken rodeo? Well, at the in-laws, they had 100 Isa Browns or something, brown leghorn, some breed like that. Anyways, very similar to what we already have for laying hens. And 100 of them that they've raised to now, I think it's 4 months. So we're going to bring 25 of them and set them up in here and integrate them to the remainder of the herd in the neighboring chicken house. So we've got to get some prep work done in this. We've had this primarily set up as a brooder last spring and then really haven't touched it since then. So we got to, I guess, reconfigure it back to a functional chicken house with some roosts and feeders and waterers and everything and adequate bedding for everybody to come in. Right now in here, we got one roost and a second one here. This one's pretty light duty up by the window. This one's a little bit heavier. So what I'm likely going to do is I'm going to run a 2x4 down the wall and one on the opposite side. And then I'm probably going to put three separate roosts in here on top of this existing one. And I'll remove this light duty one. And then you can tell I've got some cleaning to do because we never cleaned it out in the summertime, and I probably should have. That's where procrastination gets me, is cleaning up poop months and months later. So while I'd actually thought it was going to be a lovely evening to work in the chicken house with Charlotte, spend some quality time, turns out she had some other ideas, so that's fine. It's now, where to be, like close to 8 o'clock. So I'm going to go in there with my trusty flashlight and get those roosts screwed up. I just come back with the side-by-side. I just got some 2x4s for the roosts. I cut this one already, and then I'm about to cut these two just to fit in nicely in that chicken house. I really like to use the 2x4 because what it allows the birds to do is they can put their feet down and then they sit their whole body down and keep their feet nice and warm. Lots of different folks use different things. I've seen everything from broom handles to tree branches to 2x2s. And yeah, this is a really good way to prevent the birds from getting frostbite. Some of the rounder, the smaller ones, where they get their talons wrapped around it, the lower half, the claw ends are really, really exposed to the cold. This way they can sit nice and flat, stay nice and warm, and conserve some of their body heat in their extremities. One thing that's going to be unique with these roosts is they're all going to be on one level. It's not like the other chicken house where it's graduated like a ladder. There's a definitive pecking order. The higher up the ladder you get, the higher you are on the rank of authority. These are all just going to be on one level. They're going to have to figure their differences out because they're only going to be there for maybe a month at most until we're just going to chuck them all together. And we'll see how that works. All right, so we're in here. We've got them all three of them in there. I don't think they're evenly spaced, but I also don't think the chickens are going to care too much. So I'm just going to slam some screws in on either side and get this secured, and we'll be ready for the chicken rodeo on Saturday. Just next door in the big coop now. As you know, we have a very thick layer of deep bedding on the floor in here. Now, when we bring the birds in next door, I could just put a whole bunch of brand new shavings down and have that as a nice insulating blanket. The issue is we're going to have a whole bunch of minus 20 degree weather here right away. And dry, fresh shavings Yeah, they provide a good insulating layer. They don't provide any heat. So what I'm actually gonna do is take some of the excess material out of here that is already cooking and generating heat and shovel it in next door to get it started. I've had quite a few folks actually asking how this deep litter method really works. We've done quite a few videos on it, but essentially it works like a triangle. You gotta have the right balance, carbon, nitrogen, and moisture in here to get this composting action firing on all cylinders. And it'll heat up in a big curve, and it'll cook off all that moisture, and that's where the ventilation comes into play. You want to have adequate ventilation so that, you know, if the moisture is trapped in here, it creates ammonia. But if it's allowed to vent off, that heat will cycle up nice and dry up all those shavings. Good evening. Got some visitors up here. Anyways, it works really well to keep these girls nice and warm and nice and dry. That's chores done for today. Tomorrow is also going to be a big day. We've got the farrier coming, so it's going to be pedicures all around for the ponies and the donkeys. And it's going to be a bit of a rodeo, just watching me trying to catch them. So I'll try and capture some of that for your viewing enjoyment. I also, before I let anybody go, I do want to say a big thank you. Yesterday was a rough day on the farm, and a lot of people reached out. And so I appreciate your kindness. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate all the kind words in the comment section. Anyways, I'm sure you know what time it is. I got to get that kettle on and have myself a cup of tea. So I hope you have a fantastic evening. We'll see you tomorrow.